gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for February 16th, 2023. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Tim Apple is going to turn the long piece in Tetris into a star. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Jan Ochoa, everybody. Jan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I am just counting down the days. And I like this man. I like him, and I enjoy him. I'm talking about Hideo Kojima. I cannot wait till the day where he accidentally retweets something too horny.
It's bound to happen. Have we been in his likes? Have we checked out his likes at all yet? Have we seen if he is doing anything on the liking side of things that he's afraid to retweet? Because if that's true, then it's just a matter of time.
Those are fun. I remember stumbling onto like a new singer's Twitter, and then I was like, oh, what do they like? And then it was just nothing but adult content.
They're using it as a bookmarking system for later. You can't blame them. Now, listen, it's fine.
There's an actual bookmarking system, isn't there?
There is now, yes. I think there totally is, yeah. Although I've never, ever used that for anything. But I suppose if you were saving adult content for later, if you were just saving big, juicy butts for later, if that's what bookmarks are for.
Maybe that's what I was doing. I just looked at my bookmarks.
The bookmark fits perfectly between the cheeks, right? So... I'm sorry, Jan. I don't know.
Here's a reader ribbon. Here's a reader ribbon for you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know. How's this week going for you? We did the PSVR thing that people could watch where Dan played around with it. We asked a bunch of questions. Now that thing is like here, you've used it before. Are you like thinking about getting it or anything? I'm like still on the fence.
I'm definitely on the fence. I think about that Horizon demo and it looked really cool. Dan seemed to be having a lot of fun. He was really high on it. But it's like, cool, you get it. But then what are you going to do with it? And it's just such a high price point to get into even play on the rides. And there's just nothing there. There's just nothing there. And It doesn't seem like there's going to be anything there for the next couple weeks, if not months.
Yep, it's gonna take some time for. I mean, right now today, there's no reason to assume that Sony's gonna have a bunch of stuff for it. We'll get into all that first, though. Let's explain what we do here on this mess. Most weekdays, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with those PSVR 2 reviews. Again, we were playing it, or we had Dan play it while we hung out with him, and he did seem to like it. That video's up now on the site. People could check that out. It's a good time. He runs us through the setup process. We get to see the world through Dan's eyes, which is horrifying.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Truly
His head
terrifying.
moves a lot.
His head does move a lot. Yeah, he's got one of them bobbleheads. And then he showed us Call of the Mountain, of course, but then a handful of other games. One where he had tentacles. It was fun. It's a good time. You should check it out.
Yeah.
Other people have posted their reviews. Polygon says PlayStation VR 2 could become a huge leap, but for right now, it's a small step. And this comes from someone called Mike Mahardy. As a proof of concept and as a microcosm for what the headset's games could look like in the future, Call of the Mountain works. But like most proofs of concept, it's never going to pull me back. My favorite moments with PSVR 2 have been with games like Tetris Effect Connected or the phenomenal Before Your Eyes. Titles that aren't new by any means, but instead carryovers from other platforms, different headsets, or even previous generations. This is just as much a signifier of these games' lasting appeal as it is an indictment of PSVR 2's lack of system-selling titles. But still, I'm eager for something that feels genuinely new to better justify the PSVR 2's existence and that extremely steep price point. I think Mike kind of nails it right there. And it's just like today, looking at what Sony has said about PSVR 2 and its software, I'm struggling to believe or get myself in a position where I can be hopeful that, a year from now, there's going to be a ton of games announced for this thing. It feels like, well, if they had big things on the horizon, no pun intended, they would have said something now because they need to sell these things now, right?
it just seems like really odd timing to barely hype this up and not really have anything else to follow up with it immediately. And yeah, there's the whole appeal of doing a shadow drop, but one of the strong factors of doing a shadow drop is if everyone already has the piece of hardware.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not like if they say like, oh, hey, we got a new Astrobot, we got a special first party. Well, okay, maybe if it was a Last of Us thing, that'd be terrifying, but maybe that'd also push people to buy it. I just can't imagine even a month afterwards if they were to tease a project for folks to suddenly be clamoring for it. Just because it is so damn high. And I think it probably warrants the price. It's a good feeling headset. It's a singular cable. And, Dan played it maybe for close to 2 hours yesterday and didn't have any complaints about the wear and tear on his actual face.
Yeah. The comfort's just there.
Yeah, it's comfort. And, they always make a great headset. It's just unfortunate that it just doesn't seem like there's going to be anything to play on it.
Yeah, Kotaku, their review, PSVR 2 is expensive for a console accessory, but reasonably priced for a VR headset, with hardware that compares favorably to pricier PC-only goggles. The lack of PSVR backward compatibility is unfortunate, but PSVR 2 has genuinely good software currently available, and more is on the way, and if you're committed to having a console VR experience, it really is the only game in town. I think that's the one side of it where that last part there, if you are committed to, I don't want to mess around with VR and PC, but I really do actually care about VR, I think PSVR 2 is really your only viable option. And in that case, it is relatively affordable compared to going the route of a PC version. So if you look at it from that perspective, this is pretty good. And there are a lot of games that have existed on VR for like up to this point. But if you held out and this is your entry point, you're probably going to be pretty okay to find some fun experiences that might make it just worth it. I would continue to say, do not count on more stuff to come that is going to blow you away. That's going to be like a big full experience, or a big full game like Call of the Mountain or Half-Life Alyx. Those are going to be few and far between. But there are reasons that this thing can make sense for some people, right?
Yeah, I mean, folks that have been curious to get into VR, I know that like Beat Saber is huge in any VR headset market. I just don't know what other applications that Sony's planning on doing with it. You may be better served getting a VR headset on a PC just because of how open it is there. But I do understand like the stance of like, oh, I don't want it to be too open. I want like a curated experience. Maybe they'll release PlayStation Home in like the next month or so, like some type of social thing.
Yeah.
Or the lack of a social hub feels weird. Because I feel like I have a bunch of deviant friends and acquaintances that are really into VR chat, and just want to chat and talk with people there or just mess around. Yeah,
I think Sony creating a central place for that kind of stuff does make sense, and they should have a state of play here relatively soon, pretty soon, and I would imagine that part of that is going to be the telling the ongoing story of why the PSVR 2 is important to them and why people should pick it up and why it's worth the price. If we get honest, if we go in that that state of play, and we don't hear much about PSVR 2, it'll be a little bit strange. It's like, well, just give us. Yeah, sure, you haven't said anything about an Astro game or something along those lines. Surely you have something like that in the works that you haven't announced yet, because it's coming later. Well, now it's out. Now the system's out. Say it's coming. Promise it for like later this year, and let's get going. And then if they put out an Astrobots Rescue Mission 2, to me that's nearly a system seller. I probably would get it for Astrobot Rescue Mission 2, or honestly even a chance to go back and play Rescue Mission again, like a remaster of that game with the highly increased fidelity of the PSVR 2. I mean, that's the thing. People, you can compare it to the Oculus Quest. That probably is the closest thing, the Oculus Quest 2, in terms of I don't want to get PC VR, but I want something that is like a console-like experience. That is Oculus Quest 2. But the fidelity and the technology is significantly improved in the PSVR 2. And if you already have a PS5, it's actually not that much more these days. It's $150 more or something like that. So it still seems like it's going to find some people. It's just I have no faith in Sony's ability to support anything that isn't called like a PlayStation home console. And this has been the case since, the PSP, pretty good, but then the Vita, PSVR, it's trending downwards in terms of the amount of support they give. And that only makes sense because they have to put even more effort into their home console games. So it's like they can't spare anybody to go work on these other side shows, right?
Yeah, it feels like that they would have had other studios that they've acquired or other teams really building out a library or an extensive library for experiences or games, like how they've had an experience with like Horizon with Call of the Mountain. And I just start to fear that it's going to continue in that trajectory of hyping up a side product, a way that it isn't a PlayStation home console, and folks really adopting into it and it being like really well made. Like I love the Vita, I love it a bunch, but maybe a year down the line things just start to dry up, and I kind of see it happening that way, and I would love to be proven wrong. I want to be proven wrong,
Yep.
Because like those controllers too, they feel so much better, and not having to set up any lighthouses or any additional cameras. You don't have to deal with the PlayStation Move controllers anymore. And for folks that aren't familiar, it's just a singular cable coming out of the headset going straight into the PS5. No more obtuse breakout box or anything. It's as smooth as you can get without just having like one cable, unless it was wireless. But you want that power plugged into like the PS5.
Yeah. I was talking to someone on Twitter, and they mentioned Fire Sprite, which is one of the studios that Sony has acquired recently. They've worked on a lot of VR games. They did like the Playroom, which was like the launch thing that actually did have Astrobot in it for they had for the PlayStation Eye or whatever it was, the Eye camera. They work on those things. They've worked on a lot of VR things for, they working on Call of the Mountain. The things they're working on next don't seem to be VR games. They are working on other things beyond VR. And so, okay, well, that seems a bit strange. This VR studio going to work on other stuff that's not VR now, right as you're launching the VR system. Now, of course, they did just do Call of the Mountain. Maybe that Call of the Mountain team shifts over and does do something else VR, but I don't know. That doesn't seem to be the case.
I feel like you could, a lot of VR games are confined to being like arena style shooters where you're just stationary and just standing there. With like the see-through feature in it, you could do some really neat stuff or whatever. Or just like
reality.
Get some AR going in it. And I know a lot of folks would just be sitting or standing in a room. But that could be neat.
Yeah, I remember that old HoloLens demo of Minecraft, like breaking through your room, and like you could be like in your wall or whatever, and then you could start like doing a Minecraft world inside your house. And it was like, man, there's something about that was always super appealing. They tried to do that on phone eventually when the Pokemon Go stuff happened, and that didn't take off. But I know something about that concept still really is very cool to me. All right, let's move ahead. Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal are expected to release 5 AAA games by March 2028. This comes from Tom Ivan at VGC. Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal are currently expected to release 5 AAA games by March 31st, 2028. Lars Wingefors, the CEO of Crystal Dynamics and Eidos parent company Embracer, provided an update on the group's pipeline of AAA projects during a quarterly earnings presentation on Thursday. He defined AAA games as titles that have over 100 full-time developers at the peak of their development phase. They must also have notable or significant marketing budgets and are expected to sell at least 2 million units. And if development work is paid for by an external partner, then Embracer must also have a notable economic upside. One project that would appear to meet all 3 stipulations is Perfect Dark, a co-development between Xbox Studios, so the Initiative, and Crystal Dynamics, which is being funded by Microsoft. Another is Crystal Dynamics' upcoming Tomb Raider game, which is being published by Amazon. It was also recently claimed, and this is something we've talked about here before when we were doing some reporting on this, Deus Ex is one of the things that's Crystal Dynamics, right? That they are looking to get back to, and it sounds like they've shifted to that, so that's probably one of the other games coming. But it's in very early development. I'm sorry, that's Eidos Montreal, my bad. And then the studio was working on a new IP as well as collaborating with Microsoft on Xbox games, including Fable. So, the thing with Embracer Group, Jan, is, and their acquisitions is, it's really hard to imagine a future where they are thinking about doing AAA games, and because they've acquired so many studios that were sort of the level below that. But now that with Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, they probably are thinking, well, we have these studios, we probably have to make them work. So far, though, it's been like, well, let's have them work on Perfect Dark with Microsoft and Tomb Raider with Amazon, so we don't have to pay for it. You think that's going to be the strategy going forward for a company like Embracer?
I'm still not 100% sure they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
At all.
I think they knew how to spend money, right? Back when capital was cheap, especially in Europe, they knew how to spend money, and they're like a lot of things, we got the growth. Let's figure it out. How do we turn this into profit later? I think I'm right there with you. I think this is why whenever we try to ask this company, hey, can we talk about what your strategy is? They don't really have answers, and they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is it seems a little bit weird that your plan was, all right, we'll acquire these things and then have other bigger companies pay for the games that we're going to make. But I suppose we're in unprecedented times, and maybe this is the only way this makes sense for them.
It doesn't quite make sense to me because it feels like you're buying a house and selling the house at the same time.
Yes.
And what is actually being exchanged there? And I just kind of feel for the poor studios that got caught up in this mess of okay, well, should we continue working? What kind of team do we have? What is our bandwidth? And sometimes I feel like with directions coming from the top, like an Embracer going down to Crystal Dynamics or Eidos, it could really leave a studio aimless and not really focused on where to go. It's cool that they're saying 5 AAA games by 2028. None of those numbers make sense to me. Right,
that's one per year, right? So that's what a virtual jam in chat just said. That's one every 12 months, and that's between insane. 2 studios. But that's just not that timeline just doesn't work with. I mean, obviously these are bigger studios. Maybe they have a lot of people. Maybe they aren't what we would necessarily always think of as AAA, but they're defining as AAA because they have at least 100 people working on them. These days, a AAA game probably has closer to 500 people working on it at its peak. So
yeah,
so maybe he's kind of reducing the scale a little bit, and at the same time still thinking, no, this is AAA for us. I mean, those timelines are almost certainly going to get blown up at some point as we move down the line and something gets delayed and they have to keep moving things around. But I mean, I could see both these teams releasing quite a few things, especially if they are operating in a support studio or a co-studio role on some of these projects. Now, I think Crystal Dynamics is probably going to be the lead on Tomb Raider, but sure. they also might be helping on a handful of other things, and that's how they're looking at this. Still, it's this seems to be the future for big studios that exist outside of first party companies. You have got to be hustling. You have to have a big game. That big game needs to hit. Ideally, it's going to be a massive hit, way more than 2 million sold, or you could be working on a live service game. But then you also need side hustles. You need to be a support studio. You need to be pitching things to Amazon so they want to come and make a TV show based on it. You need to be hustling nonstop, and boy, that sounds exhausting.
It sounds absolutely exhausting. It just sucks so much because I know that there are IP and other games that Crystal D and Eidos Montreal would love to be working on and actually devoting proper time to. But also, is this 5 AAA games? Is this an edict from Embracer of yo, we need this because we bought y'all type of thing? It's just oh God, it just sounds like crunch central everywhere, even if they are being supported by other studios or supporting other studios. It's just
that's table stakes these days. That's not going to save you from crunch having support from other studios. If anything, that's we got to make sure stuff's ready for that other studio to pick up, so get to crunching. Okay, so what do you think? There's any chance that any one of these games is Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
No. No.
Either. I really wish, but I don't think so.
For as much as I would love it to be, it is not going to be, because that game just did not sell as much as I wish it did, and as much as Square wish it did.
Yeah, and it's I think that Embracer could maybe go around Square, but I think the way that Embracer is structured and the way that they're looking to make these deals, it's like, yeah, Disney, we'll do this. We would love to have that deal. You pay for everything. You pay for everything, and basically you publish it, and we'll have our team do it, and we'll co-publish it with you or whatever. But mostly you're publishing it. Mostly it's on you. And Disney's like, right, Disney has been recently like, no, we're doing the exact opposite of that. We are reaching out to studios that really want to work on our stuff. And yeah, we're licensing stuff out, and of course we're paying some stuff up front, but mostly it's on these studios and these publishers to finance these things themselves. And that's what happened. That's how that one Star Wars game from that one guy that always has the 3,000-page scripts for all his games. Quantic Dream, the Quantic Dream development. That's how they got their Star Wars game. They just went there and were like, listen, we have a pitch for the High Republic, and we'll do it. And also we're going to be able to finance it with all our stuff on our own. Don't you worry about it. And Disney's like, yeah, cool. That sounds great. And now that game doesn't. I don't think that game's ever really going to happen. But
I don't think it's going to come out.
Yeah.
I would love to read the script and just get through 3 pages and immediately burn it.
Yep. It's like this one's different because in my game, the Jedis are conflicted about the Force and their place inside of it. It's like, shut up, David Cage. All right, moving on. Deep Rock Galactic developer launches Ghost Ship Publishing. This comes from Jeffrey Rousseau at gamesindustry.biz. Ghost Ship Games has announced the opening of Ghost Ship Publishing. The division intends to support game makers in developing titles that prioritize open communication and the player experience. Becoming a publisher is a way for us to give a bit back to the industry and to help lift up both the Danish gaming scene and other small developers like ourselves across the globe, said Ghost Ship Games CEO Soren Lundgaard. Our goal is to assist fellow developers with funding and marketing expertise while also helping them establish a solid business. The news comes a month after Ghost Ship Games announced that Deep Rock Galactic at the time had sold 5.5 million units. The developer was acquired by Embracer in August 2021 alongside 7 other studios. Ghost Ship Publishing is poised to reveal its slate of upcoming titles on March 2nd. Yeah, it's another one inside Embracer. And again, it's like you need side hustles, right? This is not uncommon for a studio, a developer, an indie developer that had success, that has a game that sold 5 million copies. Everyone's feeling pretty flush, but then they're looking around like, what's next? Like, yeah, we will be continuing to make games, but the business we should really be in is publishing because we can kind of grow at scale there. And it's like, well, that if you are under Embracer, you got to have that side hustle. And it turns out for Ghost Ship Gaming, that's the side hustle, is turning into a publisher. I'm like, in the days of self-publishing, I'm not sure how valuable this is, but the studios keep doing it, so they must see like a chance to capitalize on something there. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like having those relationships is valuable, and they can use that to convince developers to have cool games to come work with them. I don't know. What do you think?
Sure, maybe it's it's kind of like a lure to get other devs underneath this smaller umbrella within the bigger umbrella. Like, hey, I don't necessarily trust Embracer, but I do trust your track record. I do want to work with you. Or scale, like you said, scale wise, like they may not, like a smaller dev teams, singular devs may not be in Embracer's bigger view, but for someone like Ghost Ship Publishing, they could reach out and find those more unique projects to fund and help publish.
Yes, I'm just gonna be so curious to see where Embracer is at in 5 years and what all these initiatives turned into, because most of them probably aren't gonna last or work, and it's gonna be like, well, does everything have to work for all this to make sense, or can a few things just carry the rest of it and that's enough? And it's gonna be a big question mark. All right, Super Nintendo World is opening in Hollywood. This comes from Tom Ivan at VGC. While the immersive land doesn't officially open to the public until this Friday, a host of celebrities and special guests, including cast members from the upcoming Super Mario Bros. Movie, attended last night's grand opening. From the moment we began working on this project, our goal has been to bring the Mushroom Kingdom to reality for all fans of all ages around the world, Nintendo Representative Director Miyamoto said at the event, which is a video you can watch online right now. It was like what they did, they did a stream, like a live stream, red carpet. And with the introduction of this land in Universal Studios Hollywood, I believe that even more people will be able to experience the world of Mario in a truly interactive and very immersive way. And I believe you'll have the opportunity to really, really be able to experience what it is to be in the world of Mario at this park. It's open. It's open to people if you're famous, I guess. Right now on Friday, it'll be open if you're anybody and you have a ticket. It includes the augmented reality Mario Kart ride, which I think Mike says is a dark ride. I still never fully understand that term. Set within
I know what he means.
Okay, and a Toadstool Cafe and a 1UP Factory merchandise store. I think I know what. Like, I went on that Transformers ride at Universal in Singapore, and I know that is a dark ride. But like, I don't, like if I had to define the tenets, the specifications of what makes it a dark ride, I'd be kind of guessing and grasping at straws a little bit. I'm excited. This is cool. I'm glad it's opened. It's sort of snuck up on me, and now suddenly it's here. And it's like, oh yeah, now this is just something I could do without having to go to Japan. Although the Japan does have the Yoshi ride, which is like a slow-moving little kids ride, but I still want to do it. The Orlando one is still coming too. They're going to open, so they're going to have one in Hollywood, one in Orlando. And the Orlando one will be a little bit bigger, and I think it will have the Yoshi ride. I'm kind of also like, he's talking about the world of Mushroom Kingdom, Mario. This is called Super Nintendo World. I hope we don't have to wait too long to start expanding. I think the first expansion in Orlando is going to be Donkey Kong. So yeah, that's awesome. But when are we going to get Zelda, Metroid, things like that? Are any of those things on the table? And it's like all that stuff seems pretty far away right now. But you know, I'm not complaining yet. I still want to just go to this and experience it. How about you?
Yeah, I love theme parks. I really want to go. I wish we could go. I think it'd be real fun to just fun around in a theme park with the crew. It's going to be mad packed in there for the first couple weeks, if not months, of Super Nintendo World opening up. Yeah,
I'm like, I want to go, and if I'm going to go, and you know, if we could get a crew, that'd be awesome. It's like, I'm going to make my peace with it. It's going to be busy. Oh well, it's going to be busy. We'll just deal with it. We'll get in a zen-like state and just be happy that Mario's over there dancing. We'll go dance with him. We'll ask Mario if he wants to play a game of arms, and we'll just get in a boxing match with him. See if he wants to do that.
I don't know what else they would do, and I feel like this has taken them a while to. And hey, building things takes a while, right? And making sure that theme park rides and experiences are safe for everyone involved, because that's the last thing that Nintendo or Universal wants on their hands.
Yes, definitely.
I just can't think of what other Nintendo stuff could immediately translate over. Maybe they rebrand some existing rides at Universal to adopt that Nintendo feel. Like maybe a roller coaster now suddenly becomes like an F-Zero roller coaster.
They could put a red tie on King Kong. Is that King Kong ride still there? The one that was in those old commercials where you you go by?
Oh, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, just put a red tie on that King Kong. He's not there anymore. What are we even doing? Why can't we have good things? Why doesn't anything good ever last?
For as much as I like the Waterworld stage show, turn it into a Super Mario Sunshine stage show.
Oh yeah, or Splatoon. With the Squid Kids. There's a different King Kong thing during the tram tour. You made Mike very mad about the Waterworld show. He says don't touch it. There's stuff they could do. I think that they will probably slowly just build out the Nintendo side of things. But yeah, I think Zelda's probably going to be something they do a little bit of. But like, what are the things that have global? Do they have like an Animal Crossing place? It's like the equivalent of the Berenstein Bears thing at Cedar Point. No one knows what I'm talking about. All right. I'm excited about this. This is cool. Hopefully we'll be able to get out there.
It'd be great.
Yep. Removal of, okay, this is a good transition. Let's just get into it. Removal of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's genital textures is not a statement against nudity, quote unquote. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt has been in headlines quite a lot over the past few weeks, all following fans discovering that female character models have been given genitalia in the next-gen edition of the game. Next-gen feature on the back of the box. Vulvas. Here we go, everybody. It's the future. This has led to a series of statements from developer CD Projekt Red, who has explained that the textures were not supposed to be added. This situation has developed once again as CD Projekt Red has now issued a statement to IGN where it revealed more about this unusual scandal. As was understood by CD Projekt Red until very recently, and this is them commenting on it, the vulva textures in question were a part of the HD Monsters rework mod, not the Vaginas for Everyone mod. Mods are the best. In 2021, at the time of the signing of the copyright transfer agreement, the HDMR mod, and that's the HD Monsters Reworked mod, author confirmed to CDPR that they were the sole author of the mod in question. The HDMR mod author granted CD Projekt Red rights to use the mod and was credited and compensated for their work. Then CD Projekt Red also continued by adding that the removal of the genitalia textures is not any kind of, quote, statement against nudity or mature themes, and that this is happening solely to maintain visual coherence across all character models, as including the textures was not something we planned from the start. Okay, what's the real answer if you want to maintain consistency? You just give everyone genitalia, right? This is a statement against nudity. I'm mad, Jan. How about you?
I'm enraged. I didn't expect to be this angry on a Thursday morning, but I want badge for all.
Badge for all. That's just like the mod says. Peen for all. Just dong everywhere. Just you had Cyberpunk and you put dildos everywhere. Put penises and vaginas everywhere in your video game.
Please, the people are clamoring for it.
Sorry, the word clam isn't clamoring. It made me giggle. I'm sorry. Okay. Stop making statements against nudity, everybody. All right.
Yeah. Or
how dare you?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Wild Hearts to address CPU bottleneck issue and add DLSS in future updates. This comes from Mirdad Kiat.
And nudity.
And yes, definitely. At Dual Shockers, Wild Hearts will be receiving a patch next week to address CPU bottlenecking on mid to high-end CPUs, according to a statement from developer Omega Force. Although Wild Hearts will be officially released later today, some players have already dived in with EA Play's 10-hour trial. However, PC players are reporting unpleasant experiences with the game struggling to run smoothly even on high-powered systems. Here's a quote. Omega Force is working continuously to improve performance and optimize the game for a wide variety of hardware specs across future updates. We have a patch coming next week that addresses a CPU bottleneck problem that the team discovered. This should improve performance across mid and high-end CPUs. Megaforce also promises to add DLSS and FSR support for NVIDIA and AMD graphics cards in the future. I've been playing this on PC with a 3080 Ti, and I had to put it down to 1080p. I am getting 60 frames per second. And I'm like mostly like this is I'm okay. I'm just focused on having fun. But I understand like anyone that's trying to run it at a higher resolution or on lower hardware, which is, most people have 3060s or equivalent. They're having a hard time running this game. Now, of course, it isn't officially out yet, but they are selling it, and you could get it as part of the EA Play trial. So it's like, okay, hopefully this first patch like does a lot. But stuff like FSR and DLSS should help a lot. You're playing it on PlayStation 5, right? How is it there?
Yeah. I put on performance mode. I haven't noticed anything performance wise. I can't quite tell what frame rate it's running at, whether it's like a 30 or a full 60. The only problems I've had is just getting caught, or the monsters getting caught on geometry and just being weird physics wise. But playing it so far in the moment, and I have only been doing single player. I haven't tried with multiplayer quite yet. It's been okay.
Yeah, it's my hope is that most people seem pretty happy with the performance on PS5 and Xbox Series X. Xbox Series S is having issues, and then obviously the PC's having a ton of issues. My hope is like, okay, this game can be optimized more, obviously, by what's happening with PS5 and Xbox Series X. Hopefully, very quickly after release, they're able to address those things and at least get some parity in terms of that frame rate and resolution with the high-end consoles. Because this game is a lot of fun. I am really enjoying it, and it deserves to be judged on those merits. But I get a lot of people like, that performance, just why would I want to play? There's a million games. Why would I want to play something that's going to be struggling when I could play anything else right now? And I get it. I get that. That's completely fair. Even though, like, man, I think you're probably missing out on a game that you would really enjoy, at least because I am. I'm having a good time with it in a way that I've bounced off a lot of Monster Hunter games. And this one is really working for me.
You just love building towers, don't you?
I love, lol, just build. I'm always saying that, no matter what the situation is. Things are going, there's a fire at work, lol, just build. All right. Let's keep moving. Hogwarts Legacy's first week digital sales in Europe were 56% higher than Elden Ring's. This comes from Tom Ivan at VGC. Hogwarts Legacy's first week digital sales in Europe were 56% higher than Elden Ring. That's according to GamesIndustry.biz head Chris Dring, who said the game enjoyed the biggest European launch outside of FIFA and the Call of Duty series since October 2018's Red Dead Redemption 2. Hogwarts Legacy and Elden Ring are both fantasy games released during the same month of the year. Elden Ring enjoyed a massive launch last February and would go on to become one of 2022's best-selling games. GI.biz recently reported that Hogwarts Legacy's week one physical sales were 80% higher than Elden Ring's in the UK. Clearly, this game is just massive. It is. I do wonder, like, is it going to have the same staying power as Elden Ring? I probably not quite that high, but it's going to be right in that range of Elden Ring and Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, that means it's a blockbuster, like it's a massive hit. Right. And it's just it's a little surprising to me that even with the pretty good reviews, like, it just seems like this thing has just exploded, and I'm like almost struggling to see, like, what is it doing different. I think it's just like it's delivering on a promise of that a lot of people who are fans of this series have always wanted. You could do the thing in this game that you've always wanted to do in a game, and that clicked with a lot of people. It's okay. In a way that, like, something like Avengers, which is a decent game that obviously had issues with its live service stuff, but was a game that people enjoyed playing. It didn't have a chance of doing anything like this, right?
No, yeah, it's unfortunate. I wanted to chime in that I haven't been able to escape this game because on top of, like, developing news stories, for some reason this is all over my TikTok algorithm.
Yes,
and
I mean, Elden Ring was too at this point last year, right? Right. Like, my algorithm probably sees that I watch a lot of game stuff, so this is one of the biggest games right now currently. Yep. So it's serving me those videos. And I was talking to my partner about this yesterday about, like, hey, if you were to play like a Harry Potter game or a Hogwarts game set in the thing, what would you want to do? And she pretty much described, like, Wizard Animal Crossing. And then I'm thinking, like, yeah, you know what? I would like that type of stuff too. Maybe some light puzzle stuff. And then, Grubb, I'm not joking, like 9 out of all the 10 clips that I'll see of folks playing this are just a bunch of weird psychopaths playing this game and just killing every NPC, every teacher. And it's just like, is this what you wanted this whole time? What is wrong with you? There are a million other games where you can just hurt and kill everyone here. Why did you need to do it in this world, you pervert? I need to kill magical children. That's what I need. You don't understand, Jan. I need it.
It's just like, wow, you took away, like, what, like, yes, there's a lot to, like, we're pulling at straws here at, like, lessons to be learned in Hogwarts or Harry Potter, but, like, whatever lessons there were, you took the wrong ones away from that.
Yes. That is one thing that always, like, weirds me out a little bit. This is definitely naive, but I'm like, I grew up on pop culture and movies and comic books and stuff like that, where I'm like, oh man, I'm learning lessons about, like, this character went through some stuff and they wanted to be a better person. They're the hero and I want to be a lot like them. And so and, like, who would want to be part of Slytherin? Turns out a lot of people are like, I'm Slytherin. No, I'm a naughty boy. I'm a nasty little girl who's going to go out there and kill people. I'm like, what the hell is going on? It never ever works for me that way, so I'm always a little bit shocked when I find the case of, like, I identify as Slytherin. I'm like, well, first of all, that's weird. You're a grown woman. But second of all, that's weird because the whole morality. But then, you look at Harry Potter. There's no morality in Harry Potter.
There's no morality.
Yeah.
And there's like what is that group that's pretty much like the fascists in Harry Potter, the Death Eaters.
Death Eaters, yeah.
I had a friend that got a Death Eater tattoo, and then she was really proud of it. And I'm like, that's like the really evil people, right?
Yeah, that's like the SS of Harry Potter world. Yes. But people get the Imperial logo and stuff, and I get it's a cool looking logo or whatever. But I also am like, I don't know. But again, that's me. I think I'm pretty naive on that stuff. I think I'm like,
hey, the only wizards I support is Selena Gomez.
Goddamn right. Waverly Place, shout out. That's right. Did I get that right? All right.
Yeah, you did. I'm proud of you.
Thank you very much. Last couple of things here, actually. Japan physical sales are out for the week of February 6th through the 12th. Hogwarts Legacy was number 1 there on the software charts as well, but it's like 67,000, which seems like, that sounds good. It's nothing like like Splatoon did, which was 300,000 out the gate, or Pokemon, which is something like 500,000. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet already at almost 5 million copies sold. It's number 2 on the chart still, and that's just Japan, and I think that's just physical. Just bananas. That game might already be at 20 million copies sold.
Did I make a mistake? Like, do I have to circle back onto this?
I keep thinking I'm going to circle back to it too. I don't know,
man.
Maybe we could do something. Splatoon 3, still number 3. That's a 3.8 million total so far. Yes, just those are like they are cultural institutions in Japan, and Splatoon is only kind of right behind Pokemon at this point. And in terms of hardware, the PlayStation 5 continues to sort of be picking up steam. 81,000 units sold of the standard PlayStation 5. The digital edition added another 12,000. But the Switch continues to sell as well. It's at about 50,000 between all 3 models. So it's video games continue to do pretty well in Japan. It is for the software sales, it is once again, as always, all Nintendo except for Hogwarts Legacy was PS5 version, and then Gran Turismo 7 was number 9 on the chart at for the PS5. Why did Gran Turismo 7 hop back up? I don't know. I guess it's only 5,000 units sold, so maybe it's just kind of always hovering around there. That's you know what it probably is more PlayStation 5s are selling, and people are just picking it up with that, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that was odd. That Gran Turismo 7.
It's on sale.
Yeah.
Okay, people are saying it's on sale. That makes sense. And the promise of PSVR 2. Okay, I'll buy that. Thank you, chat.
I mean, I won't buy it, but okay.
I'm literally gonna buy it. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Jan, how do you feel about watching the trailer for Tetris, the movie?
I saw people talking about this, and I'm like, why?
It's rated R.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Let's go for it. I'm gonna do this. I think
you're gonna put the L block in a different orientation then.
Yeah, what that L block do. All right, let's hit this. I'm gonna make sure that everyone can hear it. I believe you. No, actually, I'm gonna mute that. There we go. All right, here we go, everybody.
Tetris. It's the perfect game.
Yeah, they do little.
It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen.
It's Taron Egerton.
I played for 5 minutes. I still see falling blocks in my dreams. It's poetry, art, and math all working in magical synchronicity. It's the perfect game. Tetris?
Tetris.
Tetris. Tetris.
Tetris. I don't get it.
It's a combination of tetra, Greek for 4, and tennis.
Tennis.
The Russian inventor, he likes tennis. Hazel. Yeah.
This
is
game
pretty
isn't
accurate to the
just
actual story from what I understand.
It stays with you. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Hank, only 10 other people in the world have seen what you're about to see. It's called the Game Boy.
Package it with Tetris. Can you get us the rights?
That
the
Howard
Soviet
Lincoln?
Union had worldwide rights. Nothing gets out
I
easily.
think they're trying to make that Howard Lincoln.
You're walking into
He's not ruthless enough.
considers America enemy numero uno.
Okie dokie.
Oh, I love when an old white person goes,
Pioneers have to bet the house to win.
But not literally.
Listen. Have you ever heard our apartment this quiet before?
This is the inventor of Tetris.
Your game is brilliant. I'm gonna make you a millionaire.
Mr. Hodges, have you ever negotiated with the Soviets?
We're here for Tetris.
We've seized столько денег.
What do you say? I don't speak Russian.
The most powerful man in Communist Party
is watching you and your family.
Do you know where your husband is?
What the hell is going on?
The world is changing, and Soviet Union will not be left behind.
You want to play with the big boys? This is how the world works.
Where is my money?
This is insane.
We can't protect you.
Sometimes you gotta forget
the
the
music
rules.
coming in.
Yep. Mashup with Final Countdown.
Oh, that's why you were humming it earlier.
Yes, Anthony Mouse, it is. They are 100% going for the David Venture biopic thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Soviet Union is about to implode. They're lying. Everybody's lying.
Go home. The cavalry is coming.
We don't have time.
I have a plan.
Oh, come on. You guys are the kings of cliffhangers.
that was.
I think this is Hiroshi Yamauchi playing Tetris. I can't believe they put him in a Hiroshi Yamauchi portrayed in a movie. Finally, I can't believe it. I can't believe we're here. That looks great. There's parts of it where I think like, all right, settle down. You're not David Fincher, but whatever. That's a minor complaint for what looks like a really good time. It's coming to Apple Plus. I don't know. Does it have a date? March 31st. So in about a month and a half. Yeah. Where the fuck is Gunplay Yokoi though? People like there's white lab coats where they're showing off the Game Boy or whatever. They're clearly not. No one developed the Game Boy technology in Seattle or whatever, or New York. And Howard Lincoln was probably not going in there and showing off himself to this guy. But this is the right story to tell about Tetris. The guy that they have here is definitely the hero of that story, in that the creator of Tetris, his name's escaping right now. He never really got a dime for that. And this guy went in and after like it had been licensed by this other sort of mercenary capitalist who went in there and got it and was like licensing it to other people. This guy went in and was like, I can get it for Nintendo, and then in that process I could try to get some money for the original creator, Alexei Pajitnov. Thank you very much. And the Russians were like, no, that's not how we do things. Later though, after the Soviet Union fell, when the rights expired for the previous rights that everyone had, this guy helped Alexei Pajitnov buy half of it, and then they started the Tetris company, and then he got paid. And it's like, it was all because of this guy here that is the star of this movie that Taron Egerton's playing. So I'm pretty pumped that we're getting stories like this about video games. I like The Social Network and even that Steve Jobs movie. I like that stuff. I'll watch those all the time. Having more of those about video games is very exciting. What would you think of it?
That was surprisingly fun.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the director or the writer of the film, but based off of the trailer alone, that seems very promising. And, I know that we live in a world where there's like a million video game movies and shows coming out.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind if we also flip that to include like some of the, visionaries in the field, to pay homage to them. Like, yo, give me a Gabe Newell biopic where it's Jack Black playing him, and it's a musical.
It's a musical.
Oh my
God, I love it. Yeah, I think you're right though. Do some fun stuff with the stories behind the video games. This is way better than trying to turn Battleship, the board game, directly into a movie about a guy who controls a battleship. Which that movie's actually not that bad, but it's still weird to try to do that, and they should never have tried to do it with Tetris. Instead, this is the right thing to do with Tetris, and that's cool. I mean, they're rated R. They're telling a real story here. I'm not going to say the thing, everybody. I'm not going to say oh, it's a hard. No, I'm not going to do it again. But it looks like a lot of fun. March 31st. I can't wait. Send me a screener, Apple. I want to watch it right now.
Whoever's watching, just send me a screener too.
Yeah,
for whatever.
Tim Apple, send it to us. Send it to us now. Okay, let's see here. Let's get to the poll question from yesterday. I have it right here.
Oh, I need to make the Dave Lang story.
Yes, let's watch that. Man, just world traveling playboy. Will you get or keep a Peacock subscription for the Twisted Metal show? 13.4% say yes. 86.6% say no. That seems about right. I guess we need to see that. What if that show looks really good? People probably change their answer, right?
Yeah, I feel like I'm caught in an unfortunate loop where I only have Peacock because of premium live events from the sports entertainment people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. I'm not really flocking to anything.
There's that new Ryan Johnson show on there.
I was going to say Peacock.
Yeah, now I can't remember the name of it.
Natasha Lyonne is on it.
Yeah, Natasha Lyonne is in it. Poker Face. Thank you, Win Mall.
Poker Face.
Yes, it's pretty good. I watched 2.5 episodes, so it's okay.
Okay, all right. I've heard people saying Columbo and Poker Face.
Right. Yes, absolutely. They are of a kind.
Okay.
Here's the thing, everybody. Do I have Peacock for free and I've been paying for it? Because apparently if you have Xfinity, you just get it. And I have Xfinity internet. I don't have Xfinity cable. Is that good enough to get me a subscription to probably? Okay, so how do I guess I should just try to log in with my Xfinity thing. you have the cable? You need cable. Okay, so you need cable. Okay, no, I just have internet. All right, cool. Then I'll look into it still, but I'm glad I haven't been doubling up on that, but because I do have it for premium live events as well. Actually, I mostly have it so I can watch the WWE channels, like WWE networks, like legacy stuff, like WCW. I was like going through old WCW Nitros, and and then they're like, oh, the network went away, and you know what? Peacock way worse for watching that stuff because they don't have like the matches tagged and everything. It's really frustrating. I'm like, man,
Peacock. If you're tuning into a premium live event late, it is absolutely dog poop to try and like
shit.
Rewind to the beginning. Like I caught the Royal Rumble late, and then it just kept putting me during the press conferences and spoiling everything. I'm like, I don't care about seeing Bray Wyatt not in his Mountain Dew gear.
That's right. Only in the Midnight Black Mountain Dew gear. That's all we like. Yes or no? Okay. New poll question for tomorrow. Did you like the Tetris movie trailer? Yes. No. All right. So I'm going to post that. I'll maybe add the movie trailer link to there for everybody. But yeah. I like that. That's cool. Again, I hope we get a lot more stuff just like that.
I like Taron Egerton. Taron Egerton really puts his whole ass in every single role he's in.
Yeah, he's I always say a thespian, but it's a P in there. Thespian. Yeah, that's what he is. I really like Taron Egerton. I like him in that when he plays the gorilla in those Sing movies. Yeah, because he's a good singer. He's like a really good singer. So
yeah, he's great.
I always get pretty excited.
I enjoy the Kingsman movies.
Yeah, I like.
He was good in Rocket Man.
I like the first Kingsman for sure. Some of the sequels I wasn't quite as hot on. Yeah, I never saw Rocket Man. Musical biopics are basically since Dewey Cox. I'm like, oh, they're all just the same thing over and over again. And Dewey Cox is like this perfect distillation of that. So I could just watch Dewey Cox and then put in someone else instead. Dewey Cox has to think about his whole life before he goes on stage.
Rocket Man is so much better of a movie than Bohemian Rhapsody. It is a crime.
Right. Actually, that was the last one I watched where I think I'm good on musical biopics from now on. So
it was one of those times, just like playing SpongeBob on the PS1, where I looked at my partner and like, wow, a AAA movie can just be bad, huh?
Yeah. Yep. It was so boring. And oh man, whatever. Okay, let's start wrapping up here. Jan, what do we have happening on the website today and tomorrow? We're pretty busy.
We're pretty busy. We're always busy. Like you mentioned at the tippity toppity, if you missed it, Dan had the PlayStation VR 2 and he showed it off to you and I. That video is now live on the website and on YouTube. Later today, you're gonna be playing more, hopefully finishing Grubbsy 3D, and I am praying to
finish it. I have to finish it. You
know
what? We're finishing it today. No matter what, I'm finishing it today.
And I guess depending on whether or not you finish it, we or you may get to Grubberlang's Punch Out. We'll see what happens with Grubbsy 3D. Later today, we got voicemail dump truck, and we got our friend John Blood from Deadlock joining us. So the wrestling homie. Tonight is the conclusion of season 2 of Friday Night Forking on Giant Bomb. Tomorrow we'll have a quick look for a game that's been embargoed. That is a whole pile of fun. And on Professional Fridays popping off tomorrow, we'll probably be playing Wild Hearts.
Yep. And then we'll be back at it next week as well. Obviously, we got a game this morning on Friday, but look out for Bombcast next week. We'll be talking about PSVR 2 and that embargoed game. So
yes.
Look out for that. Jan, thank you so much for spending today with me talking about video games. I really appreciate it.
It's my favorite part of Thursdays.
Thanks, man. And thank you all for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.